Yep. Get ready to wind down for the evening. You know, these are June's thoughts. And they actually be facts, yo. They actually be, but people don't be paying me no mind. I was having a conversation with a gentleman when I was going to get my son from school this afternoon. He said he worked at the school on the 8th grade hall. He seemed to be very intelligent, wise, you know. And it kind of, you know, as we were talking about some of the things that are going on around the country, and they're talking about how some of these places got the National Guards being deployed. Before it's all said and done, they talked about having National Guards deployed in probably approximately 37 states. Some states, they've actually already been there. Some of these armories that sit empty, I mean, I don't know how many people are aware, but you know, now they're being remodeled and restored. I don't know what the purpose of what they're going to do with them now. But I know in the Rocky Mount area, years ago, when they were dealing with that opioid epidemic, it was like a state of emergency. They deployed. They had some. They had what the Marines. You had some Marines come from Camp Lejeune, and you had some. I met some personally. They were coming from Chesapeake. Some military. They were coming from, and they were in plain clothes. Some of them were coming in late night on trains. They would come in on railroad late night, and they had a U-Haul storage unit where they would meet at sometimes. See, what people didn't realize, they were coming in plain clothes, copying and buying, and reporting back to other agencies what was going on in certain areas, and people didn't know that. They did that. They were doing that in downtown Raleigh years ago. Matter of fact, there were some that used to be there at what they used to call it Tent City, that wasn't too far from Bragg Street. Because anytime I would go out and get some fresh air, people would come and they would come check on me just to see if I was okay. Because I would go out every now and then, get me a hotel room somewhere. Because, like I said, I'm a single father. I just want to get some fresh air sometime to get away from what especially get away from what I was seeing my mother go through battling cancer. Sometimes I just want to get some fresh air. So people would come in and notify me and let me know what was going on. But in some of these cities, you've had military deployed in plain clothes, working with other agencies undercover, and people didn't know what was going on. That's how they start cleaning up downtown Raleigh. Yeah, and that was needed. They were paying people, and here's what some people didn't know. And this is how stupid they were. That's what I say, man. Some drug dealers, they just be dumb, yo. And I see why they mad now. It's a lot of them mad because they were caught anyway. Yeah, but they were caught anyway. They were paying some of those prostitutes $200 a day to cop and buy from them. And once they were able to go in there and do a certain number of buys, and they would go and do major busts. Man, shoot, that stuff was going on back in 2010. That stuff was going on in 2010. Because I knew some of them prostitutes. I'm trying to tell you, boy. And one of them, she actually was one of my best friends for a long time. Because, yes, like I say, man, I knew a lot of people in the city, and a lot of people trusted me because in 2005, when Hurricane Katrina happened in New Orleans, they released a lot of refugees in downtown Raleigh. They were coming by the bus loads on Greyhound buses. And you had a lot of active gang members too that were coming from New Orleans. You had a lot of bloods come from New Orleans, and they had Raleigh hot, boy. But some of the females, I know two females that are still, Gabrielle and Lynette. I never forget their name. But they lost their studios that they had, their filming studios that they had in New Orleans. And a lot of the people in the city, the older heads that were coming to the city, and some of them came from Texas. When they were dropped in downtown Raleigh, I knew the city. And everybody knew I used to like the party. I was like I can't say I was like Puffy. I ain't had no P. Diddy parties. No, I ain't had them type of parties. But I used to like to have a good time. So everybody knew I knew the city. I was able to get hotel rooms. Man, I knew all the managers at the hotel rooms. And some of these people just wanted to get good, nice hotel rooms to get off the street sometimes. I would call managers ahead of time. I might have 3 or 4 hotel rooms, Embassy Suite, Marriott. What? They knew me. They knew me. Calling it, I might get 3 or 4, 5 rooms right there on the same floor. So I was making sure people had good rooms to get in when they were getting released off the Greyhound buses. They embraced me. I knew, people knew. They knew me. And a lot of people, when they started going back to New Orleans or Texas, they never forgot about me. But I stayed in school. Everybody knew I stayed in school, man. I knew, and people don't, man. When them Latin Kings came to Raleigh and they took over New Bern Avenue over there by right across from Church's Chicken on the other side. I think it's a holiday. The bike club got it now, but that was all. That whole area was run by Latin Kings. When them boys came from New York, man, you couldn't. Black and yellow was everywhere. They knew me because they knew I knew the city. I knew everybody wanted to try to get to know the people that I knew. And plus, at that time, I was one of the females I was dating was a stripper at Pure Gold. She was one of the features. So I knew everybody and everybody knew me. But as times changed and went by, I was in a relationship and I got my heart broke. And I came back towards the Rocky Mount area to build a relationship with my father, who I really didn't get to know. Because I was so busy trying to be active and involved in my life and build and establish myself. And I really didn't. Me and my stepfather at that time, we really weren't getting along too well. So I said, well, I got my own father. Let me try to go build a relationship with my own father. And that's how I ended up coming back towards the Rocky Mount, Tarboro Speed area. I've been here since 2011. I was already here. A lot of people didn't know I was here because I was either between Tarboro Speed area, and I would be passing through. I would be outside of Sharpsburg, the house in Rocky Mount, when I still spent a lot of time going back to make sure, take care of my mother at the house that she had up there in Garner. And like I say, one of the videos I made, when me and my fiance purchased this house here, I'd say it was around 2012, when she actually, 2012, 2013, when she actually got into this house. My mother they had refinanced their house up there in Garner, and she got behind the refinance company that they were about to lose their home. She reached out to me and she wanted me to help her, and I did. And that's how she ended up giving me those extra insurance policy copies. And when people realized I had a certain amount of money saved up, people found a way to trick me out of my money, man. And that's what bothers me. Sorry to be going off the board right now, but I'm just saying, man. I'm not going to reflect on that too long. God sits high, he sees low, so I know in due time I'll get that back. But like I was saying, to get back to the things that's going on in the city, every city in America, at least 37 of them, are probably eventually going to have National Guards released and cleaned up. And it's necessary because you had a lot of people doing the military that really didn't do. Some of them they ain't do nothing. They just joined and they went on the weekends. There wasn't any major wars they really had to go overseas and fight in a long time. But you got the war and crime going on right here in your own country that need to be fixed and resolved. So they're necessary. Well, like I say, man, I ain't gonna hold y'all up. I just want to make a post today. Like I said, I was having a conversation with this one of the guys at one of the gentlemen at my son's school, and we just happened to talk about the National Guards being deployed. I'm like, man, they've been in Rocky Mount. They've been in Rocky Mount. They were coming from Camp Lejeune. They were coming from Chesapeake area. They were coming in late nights on trains, and then they were going back. They had a U-Haul storage unit they used to meet at, but they were going back and reporting what was going on to other agencies because that was actually one of the females that I knew that stayed in Virginia. She would let me know when she was in the area. Matter of fact, she still reach out to me and contact me when she comes to the Rocky Mount area. So, like I say, man, everybody be alert. Pay attention to your surroundings. Feed your spirit, man. This is Feed Your Natural. Y'all be blessed, be encouraged.